I just now am sitting here thinking, oh, I should have written a cool opening for the Thing About Pam because she and I are so much alike, in terms of friendships. Like you need me like Betsy needed Pam, and I'm as nice to you as Pam was to Betsy.
Absolutely.
And anyway, we'll talk about it in the show. Welcome to the Mandcave.
I don't like that I'm Betsy in this scenario, but go ahead. If I'm going to be Betsy, then I should talk like Katie Mixon. All right.
Oh, yes. Please do that for a whole hour.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Mandcave. It's the only podcast hosted by two best friends, one of us better than the other, who have nothing in common except their name. I am Mandy Fabian.
And I'm the better one, Mandy Kaplan. And every week we test the limits of our friendship, lately more so, as we argue over movies and TV and podcasts and books and all of Mandy's dumb ideas. Grab a couch, let's get to it.
Wait a minute, cut this shit.
Pete, could I get some breaking news music? I have a new espresso maker.
Oh my, thank God. No wonder.
I am back.
You're very quick today.
Yes, I'm back. I'm better than ever. I just had my espresso for the first time in like a month. So my marriage is back on. We're good to go.
Oh, that's great. You have color in your cheeks. You look good.
Thank you.
You sound good. Yeah,
I feel good. I feel good. I feel really, 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 really good. Are we done? Is it over? Did we do the podcast? Did I share all my ideas?
It's not a golden statue, but an espresso is the next best thing.
Sure is.
Oh, and
man.
Speaking of golden statues, we're not going to speak of golden statues.
Well, we are going to speak of it and share all of our incredible insights with Fandies only.
Yeah, that's right.
What only Fandies? We have to start a dirty website thing. How? Isn't that what it's called? OnlyFans?
Yeah. I sent you the Venmo for the half of the GoDaddy domain. I can't believe it's taken this long for you to remember that. I love that. Yes.
OnlyFandies. Oh, okay. Now, new merch coming. I shouldn't put pressure on Pete. That's terrible. Every time I have an idea, I'm like, Pete, t-shirts. But OnlyFandies are going to hear a special bonus podcast about the Oscars.
That's right. So
the
hang on to your
Oscars.
That's right. Barely. Did something happen that was interesting? Yep. Barely on Twitter anymore. So, oh God. Yes. So much to talk about, but that's not going to happen here.
No. We don't talk about Oscars. No.
We could just jump into the Thing About Pam, if you would like, unless you have something else you want to surprise me with.
No, I don't think so. Do I? No. I had to look at my notes.
Because I thought the Thing About Pam was a real surprise.
I found it surprising as well.
Yes.
We had a complaint from a Fandy, and I need to share it with you.
What did you do?
Oftentimes, we don't tell everybody like what it is that we watched. We don't give a little encapsulation so that they are following along.
I can help. I can help with this one.
Please.
Fandy who complained. First of all, we accept your flaws. It's okay with us. You can be whatever you want to be. But here, pause this podcast right now and go to the Thing About Pam podcast and go ahead and listen to that. And that'll tell you the story of the TV show, which then you can watch after coming back and listening to the rest of our podcast. Was that helpful?
Or, Pete, play the trailer.
What are the police doing here?
Something happened, Minnie. Something terrible.
There's been a murder, like a big one.
Who would do this?
Well, they're holding Russ.
The truth will come out. I didn't do this.
Let's go over your story from the beginning.
You said you didn't take Betsy home. Who dropped her off? Her friend Pam.
Russ started putting a pillow over her face, and he'd say this was going to feel like when you die or whatever.
We're gonna make sure he pays for what he's done. But we need someone who knows Betsy and Russ's relationship.
Well, I know everything about it.
Tell me about Pam. She's a nice lady. She lied about where she was at the time of the crime. Look at the life insurance. Betsy changed the beneficiary from Russ to Pam. We got Pam's motive to kill.
Transfer the balance to my personal checking.
Bet you'll get that facelift you've been wanting.
I don't know what you're even talking about.
Well, your face does.
Man, she's creating this entire web of lies. You told police that you never went in the house.
You dropped her outside and left?
Yeah. No, I did go in the house.
Well, then you changed your story.
Don't forget, brain injury over here. I'm disabled.
Take apart the house. Get us something we can use to bring him back for good.
You're facing life in prison.
Pamela Huff is not a suspect.
Yeah, well, she should be.
It's only gonna get worse. Trust me.
Did she have that limp before? No. No, she did not.
Thanks, Pete. Now everyone knows what this show is.
I liked my idea better. I was very surprised. I had no idea what the show was. I thought it was like a quirky SNL sketch kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know it was a true crime thing. And I don't do true crime really because it doesn't interest me to hear about real people killing other real people.
No, I know. And as you say that, I'm like, damn it, I should have chosen something else for next week. I'm gonna send you down a true crime path. Okay.
Yeah, but you're supposed to send me down paths I don't like. That's
exactly.
the whole premise of the show. It's supposed to deepen the divide.
Don't tell me what I'm supposed to do. I know what I'm supposed to
do. Smack. Okay. And I won't apologize for that. Okay. I couldn't help it. So the thing about Pam is about a super psycho best friend. It was really fun because then I went down a dive of like not only doing the podcast, but then also reading all about toxic friendships. And let me tell you, there are some red flags because I was watching the first part of this episode and I was like, oh, wow, I've had a lot of Pams in my life. Not
for the record, I am not one of them.
No.
Wow.
You have never stabbed me in the neck. You've never stabbed me in the neck. No, I'm joking. You're not a Pam, obviously. But like, it was really interesting. I was watching the way that she was manipulating her friend in the beginning of the episode. And I was like, oh my God, that's so subtle.
Mm-hmm.
And so like everybody in the family is listening to this and playing along with this because nobody can stop this unstoppable white sweatshirt wearing force with her big gulp cup.
Yes.
I mean, I was expecting it to be terrible because we had heard not great things. And I thought, so it's all about your expectation. I thought it was really funny. I thought the opening with her talking about her husband and then her sort of half-hearted to her daughter from her first marriage. Mm-hmm. She's like, Angeli from my first marriage. Oh my God.
Right. The opening, which is like a promo video for her. And I'm not sure how that's going to fit in. Like, it seemed like a video she made for her business or something. Like, this is me. I'm Pam. And then I'm like, wait, she doesn't seem to be a person who would need a promo video. So I'm not sure how that's going to, or if it was just a stylistic choice for the series. But
they might have been trying to figure out how to implement the narrator and have it be presentational. Maybe she's going to talk to the camera later in the series.
Yeah. I don't know, but I very much enjoyed the opening video of Pam. And you said the word narrator. So we need to talk about the best part of the show by far, the best part of any show, the best part of my bath time, because I have a candle that features Sir Keith Morrison of Dateline NBC. And the candle is like a really pretty romantic scent. And on the candle, it says there were rose petals. The bath was drawn. There were rose petals strewn everywhere. It couldn't have been more romantic. Or could it? And it's so
my
funny.
God. That's great. Quick question.
Yeah.
What's a romantic scent?
It's semen.
I was going to say.
It smells like sperm. Yeah.
Just checking, I know a couple of romantic tastes, but I didn't know about
whipped cream, lube, and sperm. It's like a nice, subtle mix.
Oh, Dateline really Now, do you watch a lot of Dateline?
Not anymore, but I'm obsessed with Keith Morrison. I could not be more obsessed with how over the top he is, but how much he gets that and then pushes it further, and what a sense of humor he has about himself.
He's so funny.
Oh my God, he is so incredible. I used to want to write a sketch because Rob Lowe was doing him on Saturday Night Live, or somebody else was doing him. And you realize how he like pops in out of nowhere in those Dateline MB, like they're showing like a gruesome murder and he's like, and he's like wandering through the fields and you're like, why is he in a field? So I had like this image of him, like I wanted him to like be lowered into the shot and like hanging on a trapeze and like, I wanted to write a Keith Morrison short. He is amazing. I love him.
This is amazing. Okay, wait. So I have a lot of questions now. Did you know that The Thing About Pam was a podcast?
No, I didn't know it was a podcast, but I knew it was a true crime story.
Did you know it was a Dateline NBC thing? Or was that a surprise when you started?
I had heard that. Yeah.
Okay. So, because I didn't know any of that, but I've also never seen an episode of Dateline NBC ever. And I don't even know who Keith Morrison? I don't even know who he is.
Oh,
so the whole thing was a totally fresh. Oh, okay. I love his voice and I love the sense of humor. And it was so weird, but I thought it was wonderful.
It's the only reason I went into this with an open mind, because when I heard his voice and I was like, oh, okay, it is tongue in cheek. I'm in for the ride now. I love him. I think what happened, and I could be wrong, I think he was a very, very legitimate news reporter. He is for NBC. And he became a thing that people were like, is he doing this to be fun? Like he was so intense and and I think he just became a parody of himself and he went with it.
I thought it was it was a natural to make a half hour, or actually it's an hour long, isn't it?
It's somewhere in the between.
Yeah. Dramedy sort of.
Yeah.
Well, it's a true crime. It's very funny for being so serious and being about a murder. Yeah, I just loved it. I really loved the whole episode. I thought Renee Zellweger was hilarious. I thought they do those subtle ways that she undermines her friend. I even liked when they flash back to her retelling her version of the night of the murder, and based on how she's lying, then the scene changes based on how she's coloring it to the cops.
Subtly sometimes. Like their hair is different when she's telling it because they look a little better, and her friend Betsy looks a little worse. And
yeah, I thought that was a really fun way to illustrate that and like make it a very visual thing. And also, I was totally hooked with the whole setup of the police just randomly. Like, first of all, the fact that they're like, oh my God, that 911 call was a bit too much and so dramatic. And then that people just assumed that the husband did it and didn't even question it or look at another suspect ever.
Right.
I was like, what? How are you supposed to sound when you find your wife dead on your living room floor?
As a true crime fan, they are correct in those assumptions. It is almost always the spouse. Almost always the spouse. I can't even think of how many times it's like, turns out it wasn't. Except Scott Peterson and O.J. Simpson. But those are rare. Thank you.
Well, you have good instincts for people. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. What I'm shocked by is, how many episodes in did you get?
I absolutely would have kept going, but I had to watch some other things. But I was dying that I could only watch one episode because I really liked it. I wanted to keep going.
Oh, I watched everything. I'm like up to date because they are releasing them once a week. So I'm up to date. But the first one was fantastic because it focused so much on Renee Zellweger, who I used to not be a fan of. And she is just wonderful and willing to put it out there and willing to be ugly and unselfconscious. I really, really like her in this. And
I do too.
She, to me, when they started adding actors I don't like as much, like Judy Greer, who I really can't watch ever, being so, in my mind, so self-conscious. I find Judy Greer to be like, look at me, I'm the bad guy, I'm a DA. I'm really not on board with that. Mm-hmm. Josh Duhamel, I'm sorry to say, he's not very good in this. And he's working real hard to not be a heartthrob. And I feel like he's putting on a persona that I think he's a fine actor. Like in Love, Simon.
Yeah.
When he has that scene with the kid, I think he's a great actor. But he's dreamy.
I don't care. Yeah, I don't care.
He's dreamy. Just be dreamy. Look, don't try to be like a rough around the edges guy that you're not. I don't know.
You know what people like you don't understand about how hard it is for Josh? I mean, I think you really nailed it.
Do you mean because I'm Jewish?
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, because it's really difficult to try to overcome. Like when you just are so heartthrobby, when you're how are you supposed to overcome that? You know what I mean? The work it takes to not be only dreamy it's like a mountain that you have to climb every day.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I'm going to start a website for heartthrobs like Josh, and I hope he knows I'm on his side.
I hope Pete put some music under that PSA. That was really moving.
Yeah, please give to the handsome. It's not easy being pretty. Okay, maybe that wasn't the best bit. Go on. I interrupted you.
No, I think now I'm 3 episodes in or 4, whatever we're up to. Ooh. And because there are some off performances, particularly by the lawyers and such, it only highlights how good and layered Renee Zellweger is. She's just fascinating to watch. And I wish it were just a one-woman show. I'm so into her.
I'm surprised. I really thought that it would be because the first episode is all her with her with her wardrobe and her big gulp, her giant supersized big gulps, and her sitting in that beanbag chair staring at the daughters.
Yep.
I was just so sucked in, man.
You mentioned her wardrobe, and she comes to the door when the cops come a-knocking in a beautiful house coat. Like, right? It is many, many colors. It's Renee in her Technicolor house coat. And I thought most people would roll their eyes and go, who really wears something like that? And I'm here to tell you, America, the answer is my mom. Wears house coats with the zip down the front and the flowery designs and the swing and the pleats. And she goes for it. And I was so delighted to see #housecoat on represented.
I have a website for underrepresented housecoats. And if you want to just give $5 a month for a house coat that hasn't gotten the recognition it deserves. Yeah. That was one of my favorite jokes, actually, is when the police come to her door and she's dressed in that spectacular house coat and they go, do you want to change? And I forget what she's something like.
She's like, no, come on in. No, I'm fine.
No, let's do this.
Yeah. Talk about, your pet peeve about crying with no tears. She does it so brilliantly throughout because this woman doesn't make tears, I don't think. But she's constantly trying to show people how sad she is and how heartbroken she is over the murder of her best friend. And so she's doing a lot of that pushed fake crying. It's purposeful and it's wonderful.
I like how she sort of swaggers over to like when she knows the police are there, she looks in the mirror, psychs herself up, swaggers over to this Kleenex box, half-heartedly kind of grabs a tissue, walks up to the door, and then starts dabbing her eyes as she opens it. Like, I was like, oh, this is masterful. And I have to say, like, this is why I'm concurrently now listening to the podcast and also going to watch the show because I can't believe how they're unveiling the story. Like, it starts off where you're like, oh my God, there's not one person who thinks it's anybody but the husband. And there's nobody even hinting that they're going to even try to think about that. And also you get that it's Pam, but you really don't know what happened. You don't know why she would have killed
idea.
Betsy. And you're in episode 3 and you still don't know?
None.
4?
I know that she very purposefully, they pull up to the house on the night of the murder and she's like, we got to call my husband. I promised I would put you on the phone with my husband. Say hi to my husband. And it's so clearly to establish an alibi. Yeah. And I don't know why. I'm fascinated. I want to know why.
And then
I know that there's a life insurance policy and the best friend gave her the money to take care of her daughters, right? So I know that, but I don't, but like it's twisted. So maybe I do know why, but it's so planned out and I'm not getting the pieces of the puzzle yet, but I want to.
Oh, that's really fun. I like it. Like when she's calling the mom or she calls her friend a bunch of times, right? And then she calls the mom to say like, hey, I've been calling her for hours and she's not picking up. And then later when she's telling the cops that she did all that, she says she was doing it from home when in fact she was doing it on the street outside, like in her neighborhood. Oh my God. It's just so, I can't wait to see how I don't even know if it gets unsolved, but it must because people obviously know now that Pam did it.
I think so. I think that's where we're heading. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Look at us on the journey. So what I want to talk about the tone of this show, because I think people are complaining. And some people had this complaint about the woman on the planet next to the satellite from the house. But they were wrong about that. That, to me, was totally perfect. This is tough to figure out because it is a parody, yet they are going for real emotion. And then I saw it marketed somewhere where there was no mention of comedy. It was like the new true crime drama starring Renee Zellweger. So I'm wondering how they're marketing it. And I think for me, it clicked in that it was either a parody or just a terribly, terribly produced drama. And either way, I was down to watch it. At an episode 1, minute 20 with 20 seconds to minute 21 or so. Pete, play it.
How you liking your first murder?
Honestly, I thought it'd be harder to solve.
We got statistics for a reason, brother. Learned that in my 200 hours of training. This textbook spousal homicide.
Drive to bed.
So this is the cops outside the house after they've gone in and discovered the body. And the exposition dialogue is so bad. It's like, it's always the husband. Here's how these things work. You gotta and they're just it's just bad. And they keep using that gung, 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 like that Law and Order thing. Every 3 or 4 seconds, you'll hear it in the music after you've everybody's just heard it. So they're like, we know, Kaplan, we just heard it. But I'm explaining to you who's looking at me like, what are you talking about? It was so over the top. So I was like, it's either just bad production or a parody.
See, I think it's comedy. I know it's an hour long, but to me, it feels like real pure comedy. The only reason it's drama is because it's about a murder. But I love it because, first of all, because it's true crime and it's a true story. I didn't find that dialogue exposition-y at all because they're setting up to me what the cops said during, they're setting up where the cops made the mistakes, right?
Mm-hmm.
They have to sort of show the pieces of the puzzle. I felt like that whole bit about, well, that's why we study statistics in cop school. I think they are kind of really showing us the story, but they're doing it in this really funny. I think it's just funny.
Wikipedia says The Thing About Pam is an American crime drama limited television series detailing the involvement of Pam Hupp in the 2011 murder of Betsy Faria.
Well, it's not like a broad comedy.
Right. But when you say that's where I was confused. I was like, oh, it's a comedy based on Josh Duhamel's wig and Renee Zellweger's look. It's a comedy. And then it's really not. Maybe it is, but they're not marketing it well.
You know what I think it is also because it's a real story that to me it feels like they're doing a not great reenactment, a reenactment with comedy.
Right.
A heightened, can you believe the story? Because the story is so, it's a social, what am I thinking of? A pop culture-y kind of what happened?
Yeah. It's
in
bananas.
This tiny little town outside of St. Louis where nobody ever, there's you find out when you listen to the podcast that there's been one murder back in, I don't know, 3 years ago or something.
Mm-hmm.
It's there's no crime at this level at all in this town. They don't have to handle it ever. So when it happens, they kind of just go by the books. They don't have the finesse or the experience the guy even forgets to read him his Miranda rights, which Again, I watch these things and I go, wait, what's true and what isn't? But it feels to me like they are trying to show these caricatures of can you believe this crazy story that happened? And here is how. So that's why I think they allow it to be broad, not grounded, because it's such a crazy story.
It is a crazy story. Right. I just think that they're not marketing it well, or they're not letting us know what ride we're in for. And people would enjoy it more. It's getting really bad reviews. People would enjoy it more if they knew, we're watching an exaggerated, funny, tropey, playing up all of the dunk, 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 that. That's, it's, I think they did it on purpose. And then maybe somewhere in the studio, they panicked about, we can't make it. We can't tell anyone it's a I don't know what happened. I was not present at some of those meetings, but because of COVID, just because of COVID.
Yeah, you had a bad case of it for a couple of days. What about the woman in the house across the street from the girl in the window? What? Anyway,
Ew.
How was that marketed? Was that marketed as a comedy?
Yeah.
Because I felt like that tone was more confusing than the Thing About Pam.
I disagree, but also I think it's like, I think if you know, I don't know what my point was going to be like, no, because I've watched so many of those things. I knew it was a comedy just based on the trailer, dropping casseroles like that.
Yes, it has obvious
to me.
It has obvious jokes in it, but it's played like a drama.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's because, like, to me, this is like a Tiger King story.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not a documentary, but how Tiger King feels like, oh my God, if you made this a television show,
right,
it would be unbelievably wild, right? So,
yes.
As wild animals. No, sorry, that was terrible. But like, I really feel like it's just so outrageous that even though it's a real story, that's what makes it so. I'm learning. I'm a sucker for real stories.
Huh.
I'm not into the violence thing. I guess I'm not interested in hearing about real violence because I find that very disturbing. But I'm interested in this character, Pam, and how just, my God, the way that she maneuvers the pilot, pulling her friend away from her family just by manipulating her and saying, like, it's fine. I don't mind. No, I'll come get you. I'm already on my way. Right?
Bizarre. Yeah.
I can't wait to find out what happens next, which I think is a really good sign. Don't you think?
I do.
Television, I'm going to say, I think television is getting so good. There were at least 3 things that came up this week that people were like, have you watched such and such? And I'm like, oh, I should call Mandy right now and tell her we have to watch that instead. But I really enjoyed The Thing About Pam. I'm really glad that we watched it because I probably wouldn't have, right? Because I hadn't heard good things. I loved it. And
it's guilty pleasure.
Yeah.
It's not like it's not Roots.
Those poor people in Missouri, we have to do something about them.
Yeah.
Okay? They're eating at Arby's at 9:00 at night, for Christ's sake. If you too know someone who likes a beef and cheese sandwich at 9:00 at night, please call now. We have a side hustle going on. I think we should talk after this podcast, after our Oscars bonus pod for our Mandys. Let's talk again about this as a side hustle.
Making PSAs?
Well, no, I was going to say forming real charities, but if you just want to do the, if you just want to do the voiceover work, you're so good at it.
Thanks.
Mandy McLaughlin.
Sarah McManlin. I don't know.
Sarah McManlin. Yes.
Yes.
So, we agree.
Yeah, I would give it 3.5 man jobs.
I give it 4 because then it's one of those worlds like cults or like those weird character worlds that you can go into. I think I'm going to get a great story out of it. And you can go and listen to the podcast too, because the podcast has all this weird additional information.
You brought up cults and I'm going to sidebar just for 1 second. Your Honor, may I? In Chambers?
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So for work, I swear I have to do a little research about cults. And I started Googling and I swear to you, my computer was like, Mandy, again, really? You've done this. Like every cult that came up, I've seen and read everything. I found a list of like the top 10 craziest documentaries about cults. And I was like, seen it. Like I have a real obsession with cults. So
who doesn't want to watch about that?
Oh,
I've been trying to figure out how to. I've been trying to figure out how to lead one for years. Hasn't happened.
I'm a member.
Oh, thank you.
I'll brand your name anywhere you want me to.
All right.
I will.
Got my weekend cut out for me. I can't. I don't like the smell of burning flesh. I'm a vegetarian now. You know that. Another sidebar. Did I ever tell you the story about when I was at Coachella and Morrissey came out on the stage and then promptly refused to do the rest of his show because he could smell the hamburgers cooking? And he is such a vegetarian that he was like, ugh, the smell of burning flesh, I can't. And he left the stage and didn't come back. We're all standing there for an hour and a half. How crazy is that? Then, by the way, you know who followed him? Paul McCartney.
Oh.
Yeah, also a vegetarian, but a class act. So here's to you, Paul McCartney. But I do feel for Morrissey.
Ugh.
If any of you out there know vegetarians who can't stand the smell of burning
We already did
meat.
it 3 times. We just broke the comedy rule.
I know. Well, that's why I'm not famous. Yet. Okay. So, should we tell the people? Yeah. All right. So listen, guys. People who do our podcast, right? Mandcave is a production of True Story FM, engineering by Pete Wright, music by Ian Post. And hey, listen to me. You're listening to this podcast right now, right?
You are. You can't say you're not.
Run your fingers up and down your screen and find those stars and push on them and push them again and again. 5, if you like. Like, we'll take it. We love your reviews. We love your ratings. And tell your friends about us because we won't disappoint them. We've disappointed our mothers, but not your friends.
New friends, new reviews from Ashley Ad. 5 stars. Ooh. Hilarious. Absolutely. Check
Ashley.
It out. Bloody great from Mermaid Girl 79. So somebody's... we have an English listener.
She's
Pandy.
Part of our world. Oh,
right?
English. I went Real Mermaid. Okay.
Oh,
yep.
I'm going. Somebody said bloody, so I'm excited that maybe we have an international fan base.
Oh my God, we're global,
right?
This is a big moment for us.
I know. So
okay,
thank
I
you
should
for
start
those
doing
reviews.
an accent.
Do you see how happy those reviews make us? Do you hear it, people?
So happy.
We're so happy. So please, 5 stars. Ask us questions. Give us input. We will give you a shout out on the podcast. And also join us. Become a Fandy. Mandcave.com/member or /Fandy.
No, Fandy. Oh my God. Really? You've done this 500 times.
I know. I had
Mandcave.com/Fandy. Yeah,
and
okay.
That'll give you access to the super secret podcast we are about to record about the Oscars. And it gives you free birthday messages from us, access to our Discord channel. Mandy, explain what that is.
Discord is this really fun app where it's like a MySpace, but for Fandies. Mm-hmm. Well, okay, maybe MySpace isn't the best route, but those are like, there's some other social networking sites, but you can come on. There's a private channel for Fandies, and then there's a Gen Pop channel. So we'll talk to any of the plebeians out there, but we would really love, and I give style tips, makeup tips. She's laughing because she sees me and you don't. And then there's also, if you want to go to mandcave.com/merch, we have these super cool t-shirts and we have travel mugs. And I think this week we're going to get that, oh God, what did you just say? That was so good. Oh, God dang it. Fan, what is it?
What are you talking about?
I'm having a stroke. The real fan. Super fan.
Only Fandies.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to have only Fandy car decals. So you can put one on the side of your Volkswagen. Yeah.
We're serious about that one. Okay. So I'm glad you're having a meltdown because I apologize to everyone who listens to last week's episode that I had a complete meltdown. Let's not say anymore and let them enjoy it for themselves. But
Pete, you know what to do.
No, that
was so funny.
So please go back and listen to last week's episode.
Yeah.
Life Manned Beth.
We had a lot of breakdown laughter in that. That was really good. Oh, okay. So we've done all the business.
Yeah.
We have talked about the Thing About Pam. I'm so happy that you liked it.
It's crazy. And we agreed.
I know. Well, I know you're a huge Drew Barrymore fan, so I thought that maybe, you would like Renee Zellweger. They're sort of in the same zeitgeist. And I'm going to give you there was a lot of toxic friendship games. I'm going to be honest with you. This is honest. This is me being honest.
Okay.
I looked up how to be a good friend. like what? Like a quiz. Like, are you a good friend quiz?
Was it just a picture of me?
You know what? Basically, it was super weird. It was like there were 10 things of like, do you, take care of your friends' things when they're out of town? Do you often call and reach out for lunch? There were all these things. And I swear to God, like 8 out of 10 of them you did. And almost 10 out of 10, I did not. And so I thought that would be a bad quiz for us. Cause I was like, I don't know how in the hell she's ever maintained this friendship with me for a long time, but I want you to know, I appreciate you. So I went the other way.
Okay.
Today's game is going to be a Renee Zellweger game. And it's kind of a mishmash of It's kind of like how well you know me and how well you know Renee Zellweger. Not too long, pretty painless. I think this is going to be really fun for you. Are you ready?
Of course.
These are all Renee Zellweger themed questions. Okay, first question, true or false? I want to be able to see your face while I'm doing this quiz. All right, here we go.
Okay.
True or false? I, Mandy Fabian, would never have plastic surgery.
True.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
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 You're not going to call me on that ever, but like, yeah, I would say never. True or false? You would never have plastic surgery.
False.
Really?
Had it.
Shut up. You have not.
I've had 2 breast reductions. 2.
That's not plastic surgery. That's.
I claimed I had back pain, but it was just because I was sick of the nickname Dolly Parton.
That's like if you ever want to do a marathon. Well, and also it's the jogging, right? And
all my jogging, yeah.
And you're dancing. Like, that was I don't think that's a.
No.
Okay. All right.
You're not even going to recognize me when we're doing this podcast in a couple of years.
Oh, boy. Okay. Yeah. All right. Here we go. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
Which Renee Zellweger co-star have I had sex dreams about? A, Tom Cruise. B, Jim Carrey. C, Colin Firth. Or D, all of the above.
Ooh, I'm going to say Jim Carrey.
It is A, Tom Cruise.
Oh, okay.
But if we're talking daydreams, all of the above.
Okay.
Actual sleeping nighttime dreams, just the Tom Cruise. I woke up one night holding hands with Tom Cruise. We were literally sitting, holding hands and looking at each other's eyes. And then I woke up and my hands were like this over my head.
Oh my God, you guys, she's clasping her. First of all, she's showing off her rack, but she's shoving it into the camera. But she's holding her hands above her head. But isn't it strange that you've had sex dreams about him? I had a sex dream about John Travolta. You and I got to get into Scientology. These dreams could come true.
Oh my God, we're going clear. That's amazing. We did it without all the work and all the money.
Yes.
And being able to keep our lives and not be in a cult. Speaking of cults. Okay. Which Renee Zellweger movie have I had sex dreams about? A, Chicago. B, Bridget Jones' Diary. C, Cold Mountain. Or D, all of the above.
Cold Mountain.
It would have been all of the above. No, I don't really know. Chicago. I thought Chicago was very
on the
sexy.
Nose. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Well,
Tay Diggs is in that one, so we know I had some dreams.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Third question.
Yeah.
This is a good one. You are going to love this better than any game I've ever given you. Ready?
Ooh.
How many degrees am I from Renee Zellweger?
Oh no, I can do this. So you were in that movie with Charlize Theron and Nicole Kidman.
Yep.
And Nicole Kidman was in Cold Mountain with Renee Zellweger. Boom.
Holy crap! Oh my God, you found it closer than I did.
Am I right about that? Of course I did. Nicole Kidman was in Cold Mountain, right?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Oh my God, you're amazing.
Thank you.
I went with Renee Zellweger used to know my friend Stephanie Garcia in Austin, and she also went to UT. Okay, all right. So we had the same acting coach. I'm just saying, all right, fine. But go with the Nicole Kidman thing. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
What was that movie called that you were in that everyone should check out? It was a great movie.
Bombshell.
Thank you.
Yeah,
yes.
I like that. Okay. Which thing do Renee Zellweger and I have in common? I may have blown this, but we'll see. Ready? A, we went to the same college. B, we both starred in Jerry Maguire. C, we both are willing to gain weight for our craft. Or D, all of the above.
C.
Okay, that's insulting. I have never gained weight for my craft. I have done it as a byproduct of being successful.
Sure.
But I mean, not for my craft.
Right.
But actually, we went to the same college. She is a University of Texas alumni, and I attended the University of Texas for my sophomore year of college.
Oh.
Although the other 3 years, I went to Vassar.
Yes.
That's right, Vassar College.
Yeah.
Do you want to take a minute and look it up?
Renee Zellweger's not a lesbian, so she couldn't have gone to Vassar. So
she's not a lesbian yet, but who marries Kenny Chesney if you're not a lesbian?
Oh, good point. Wow, man, with the pop culture references. You really did a deep dive on Zellweger.
I seriously loved her in this. And she's one of those people I'm like, I think everyone's so hard on her. Like, it's ridiculous. She's one of those celebrities. I'm like, oh my God, just leave her alone. Her personal life is her own. But I think she's really talented. What she does every time, she's surprised me. Okay. Ready? Okay. So this is the last little bit.
Yeah.
Is this a Renee Zellweger quote or how I answer when people ask me about our friendship?
Okay.
Okay. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Number 1. You complete me.
Both.
Yeah. That's the right answer. I'm surprised because I posed it as either or.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that you knew that was
I
both,
got it.
that's great.
I'm onto it. Yeah.
Okay. Number 2. 1 minute, you're closer to someone than anyone in the world. The next minute, you're never going to see them again.
Her. Renee Zellweger quote.
Yeah, that's a quote from her. Yeah.
Because you're never getting rid of me. So I know that couldn't have been you.
I can't shake you. And I could shake a lot of them. Okay.
Yeah.
Everybody has their troubles, and I've had mine.
So that's a quote about our friendship, or that's
that's the question, Mandy. That's the game.
Yeah, so that's her. Yeah. That's Renee Zellweger. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I'm not trying to trick you here. I've never said that about, or have I? I don't know. But no, that particular one is a Renee Zellweger quote. Okay. And last one. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's great. We've known each other 20 years and she has the same first name as I do. And, we both enjoy musical theater and animals.
Renee Zellweger.
Renee Zellweger?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
No, that's me.
Definitely.
That's
Empire
me
Records. No, she said that in Empire Records. Watch it.
She did? Oh, okay. The fact that you pulled out a movie that I haven't even heard of, that's impressive.
Hey, that's what I'm here for.
Okay. And I feel like you did very well.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
If this was Family Feud and I was Richard Dawson, I would kiss you right now.
Honk, honk. Right?
Get it, honker. Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So what am I watching?
Okay. I am very excited about it. And then I give it a little thought and I'm like, it's actually probably going to be terrible. And so, but we're still going to do it. That's why I was just like panic scrolling my phone to see if I could find something else because it is a movie on Netflix releasing April 1st called The Bubble. Okay. It is Judd Apatow's bubble movie about making a movie in a bubble. And there's a lot to like about the trailer, but I'm a little nervous that it's just a bunch of white people making inside jokes and it's not going to be good. But we're going to watch The Bubble on Netflix, releasing April 1st.
You just said everything I love. Judd Apatow, white people.
Yeah.
Making inside jokes.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. Is it inside jokes about movie making?
Yes. And about bubbles.
Great. Oh my God. As an ardent filmmaker, I enjoyed those conversations. Oh, that's great. Okay.
And drinking game every time I say the word bubble. From this episode, keep going till next week and then really have a full bottle for next week.
I love and am alarmed that when we record this podcast at 10 in the morning, you're always coming up with drinking games. But you know what? It's great. It's great.
Yeah. And I firmly believe most people are listening in the car and, while at work or at the gym. So even more disturbing that I'm like, drink up.
And I will also, I'm issuing a challenge. I will be very disappointed if next week's game is not a drinking game. So there you go.
Okay, the gauntlet has been thrown.
Okay.
All right.
I'll talk to you next week.
You sure will.